And welcome back to Triple B, where we are Black, beautiful, and brave. I am Candy.
I'm Ayana, and we're here to discuss with you some of the topics that we are interested in as Christian single Black women.
All right. So if you are watching us on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and to
Mhm.
share it with your friends that you may feel they might find these topics very insightful, right? So,
Mhm.
you see the ticker right here below. We're on YouTube, we are on Facebook. Join our group. We have an Instagram page as well, and you can listen to us on Spotify. So, like, subscribe, rate us, give us a nice rating, and leave a comment, right? Leave a comment and share us with your friends. So today is no different than any other episode. We have a great topic to talk about. I think we always have great topics, right?
We do. We do. So, the topic today is online dating. All right. All
Online
right.
dating. Okay.
Online dating.
All right. All
So,
right.
so I was asking, well, my question would be which one of us do you think does online dating? Do, 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 do. Yep, so that would be Candy.
Oh,
That'd be Candy. But in
yeah.
addition to Candy, today I have a very special friend of mine, Alicia, and she'll be on talking about online dating, giving us her take. So she and Candy are doing a little bit of a takeover. She is a single, Black, beautiful, professional woman. She is a nurse, and she's here with us to share some of her experiences. So this promises to be interesting.
Welcome, Alicia. Welcome, welcome. And you
Hi,
know what?
hi,
She meets the description of our podcast. She's
hi.
not, she's beautiful. Definitely. Look at her. Radiant.
Yeah,
Beautiful. And she's
I'm
also
receiving it. I'm
brave.
receiving it.
And she's brave enough to join us to have this conversation.
I
So,
know, I know,
so
I
thank you
know.
so much for being Black, beautiful, and brave.
Hey, praise the Lord.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. So my first question to both of you: why date online?
Mm.
So I go first.
Yes, you do.
Well, for me, it took some doing. Like I said, that I enlisted God's help
Mm-hmm.
and in this journey because I have done this by myself before and I'm
Mm-hmm.
still single. So
Mm-hmm.
I think the best person to help me in this pursuit is God. And so I thought to myself, like, how would God show up for me in 2025? I was thinking that if I were to need of some kind of transportation, a ride somewhere, would God send me in 2025 a horse and buggy? He
Mm-hmm.
would
Mm.
send
Okay.
a car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or a truck or something that's relevant to 2025. And so I did not want to isolate God and his move and how he was about to move in my life. So I have to say that I genuinely prefer meeting somebody generic, but I don't want to box God in any way. So I decided to use any avenue and allow God to use any avenue to bring that special person in my life.
Okay. All right, Candy.
Mm.
Thank you, Alicia.
I like the idea of using any avenue.
Mm.
Um, as a means of why not, right? I think God can use and do anything that he wants for his will, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think because of where we are in today's world, I don't see online dating as something so unique. In the
Mm-hmm.
past, people, I mean, dating is a new concept. People didn't date. Biblically, if you would say historically, it wasn't by dating. It was more so, hey, this is a good family, that's a good family. We have a child, you have a child. Let's bring them together. Or it could be a
Mm-hmm.
form of a reference, right? Oh, I know someone here and there, and it was more so get married. There was no dating necessarily. But as time progressed, things change, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so with me, where you meet people have changed. And so adding online dating is just more so another place to meet people. It doesn't stay, for me, it does not just stay online, but it's just another avenue of meeting people who are actually seeking relationship, seeking
Okay.
to meet someone else. Like in church, church is for people to worship. And you
Mm.
might meet someone there and it develop into something, or you might meet someone there and it doesn't develop. Same thing with online. So I think that's why I am open to online dating, because I'm open to meeting people in wherever God is willing to use it, right? So why not?
Yeah,
All right.
because
So
yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead. Mhm.
I just wanted to piggyback on that and say, like, even now, look at the platform that we're using now. This wasn't something that we used before, right?
Mhm.
We didn't
Mhm.
have anything like a podcast before,
Mm.
where we gave our views and thoughts and things like that. And so now
Right.
we are moving into that. So why
Right.
limit what God can do? And then
Mm.
to say that God presented in the Bible, it was always the same way. If
Mhm.
I were to go back to the word, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, there was a time when we go to Esther where she had to go glean, and then her mother-in-law told her how to
That's
show Boaz,
that's
right?
Ruth, right? Ruth. I know you
Ruth,
mentioned Ruth.
right?
Mhm.
So I said Esther, I'm sorry, it was
Yeah,
Ruth.
yeah. Yeah.
And so that took on a different form. I mean,
Mhm.
like Eve was just presented to Adam.
Mm.
So
Mm.
that was a form. And then when
Mm.
it was it Jacob,
Mhm.
when he was looking for a wife,
Right.
right? Look at the scenario there. There's several scenarios in which
Mm.
people were able to get spouses, right?
Mhm.
When
Mhm.
Abraham was looking for a wife, he
Mhm.
told his servant to for his son, he told his
Mhm.
servant, take jewelry and stuff like that and go to my
Mhm.
father's family. And so that was the arrangement part, right? So
Mhm.
it took on different forms. So I don't think
Mhm.
that we should in any way, shape, or form box God into any one avenue of how he is going to present. Because I personally have friends who've had good experiences with the dating. Not to say that they immediately found that person right away.
Right. Right.
Over time, they did, and they're
Mhm.
happily married. So I'm
Okay.
not going to limit the way, in any way, shape, or form, how God is going to present that person to me.
So you definitely see online dating as something that God is using to bring individuals together.
God can
He
use,
can.
Okay.
He can.
versus
Okay.
being the absolute, like that's what God is using. No, he
Yes.
can
Okay.
use. The same way you can meet someone in church
Uh-huh.
doesn't mean that that's your spouse, even though you
True.
met them in a holy place and
Uh,
your marriage is not holy and you are not happy, right?
right.
Exactly.
That is definitely
Exactly.
possible, and there's evidence of that happening time and time again, right? So
Mm.
we don't then say, oh, don't meet people in church. We don't
Right.
say that, right?
Right.
So he can use church, he can use whatever he wants.
Yes.
And I like how Alicia mentioned, I'm not going to put God in a box of what he can do for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you feel that the church has received or describes online dating for singles? Are churches very receptive to online dating sites? What's your thought on that?
I don't know if the church per se
Mm-hmm.
has given any insight into it.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't denounce it in
Yeah.
any way. I think what people feed off of is the negative experiences that people have, and there's a certain amount
Mm-hmm.
of fear that's there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And things that are unknown is a lot of times is fearful.
Right.
Um, and so there is a lot of safety, people
Mm-hmm.
feeling unsafe for
Right.
you when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to that. And that's not just in the church, that's
Mhm.
general. That
Mm-hmm.
people, because to be honest, there's a lot of negative people that's on a dating website. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Be honest. But then again, generic, you can meet somebody generic down the street and they could be a negative influence too and a negative person.
Yeah.
So, but then the publicity has been negative. So, and people post their negative experiences more so than the positive ones.
Yeah.
Because even when I mentioned 5 people, you were like, 5? Like, you you can imagine that 5 people actually met online and
Right.
have.
And remind me to get back to that. Candy, go ahead if you had anything to add.
I would say that I also have met people who have met their significant other online as well.
Mm.
Bad news spread quicker than good news, right?
Exactly.
And so when people have negative experiences,
Yes.
people are more willing to share that versus,
Mhm.
oh man, I had a great experience
Experience,
as
yes.
far as dating online and so forth.
Yes.
And so when it comes to the church, I honestly don't think there's a place for the church to have any comment or say about online dating. That's not a
Mm.
that's I don't see the church have a place for that, because the church don't say don't meet people at school, don't meet people at the grocery store, don't make sure you stay away from the parks. There are
Yeah.
dangerous people there. So therefore they're not saying that. There's not a that's I don't think that's a place for the church to even make a comment about that. It's not appropriate. I've never heard a church say you shouldn't date online. No,
Yeah.
I mean that's
Yeah. Yeah.
it's irrelevant to it, right?
Yeah.
Everybody meet people different places, and it's more so what happens after you meet. How do you conduct
Yes.
yourself as a
Yes.
Christian? That's where the church
Yeah.
has
I
a
think
say.
so.
Or how do you respect yourself as a Christian woman, as a Christian man,
Mhm. Mhm.
regardless of where you meet your person,
Yes.
Right.
right?
So, but
Where
that
you
means the
go.
church still has an opinion on it, though, because
No,
I
No,
would
it does
no.
go with
not.
but
What
I say the
opinion?
church, I mean, like, as a church, the same way you tell your friends, like, if you're gonna meet someone, make sure you want to make sure it's a nice, decent person that you're interacting with, whether you meet them at the grocery store on. Similarly with safety elements, if you're meeting someone, making sure it's someone who you are safe with, who's not going to abuse you. I think from that perspective, like any kind of advice like you would get from the church on a whole about dating, I think that's in a context I'm thinking of online dating.
Okay. In that context, yes.
Yeah.
And
I still don't get it, but
You don't get it?
no, I
yeah,
don't.
I mean, in terms of the safety element, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, but for them to say that this is it's unbiblical to,
Right.
to
Right. They're
find
not saying that.
somebody.
They don't have to
You know,
say that, but
no.
and it's interesting. So that's certain denominations, because some denominations would say stuff like that, because they know there are some denominations that don't practice dating at all.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because I know there's this podcast I listen to, and the young girls, they do arranged marriages in their church, and it is a Christian faith, but they
Mm.
don't practice dating. And they've talked about the process of how they meet people and stuff. So
But there's online arranged dating sites also.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I'm
Sure.
saying that the fact of using technology or using the web, right?
Mhm.
As far as how you get your goal accomplished, that's where I'm just saying there's not a place for the church to have that opinion. Safety is safety, right?
Right.
Regardless, you don't hear them having a conversation on the pulpit about how to be safe when you go to the park. Right? They don't
Yeah.
have conversation of how to be safe when you go to the grocery store, right? That's not something the church on the pulpit can talk about. So therefore, I don't believe that safety on online dating is something that will be spoken about on the pulpit.
I've never heard it. I've
Right,
never heard
right.
it.
But it is, but not just from the pull. I'm thinking from a general community, looking out for the interests of the community members' perspective. Does not have to be from the pulpit, but it's the same way that you care for your members of your church. There's some things that, anyway, that's just a thought. All
I
right.
think the thing is, I guess when you say church, you're talking about a particular community, maybe your church
Or this
community, if that's what you're
church
referring to.
community or the general Christian denomination, because we're focusing on Christians, like, so again, it is just like guidances, which you already mentioned, right? Because remember, it's in the interest, if something were to happen to you, or if you as a church member are misrepresenting the Christian body, then that's an issue that affects the entire church body. Right. So I guess it's along that line about what sort of guidances would a church give as far as online dating. Okay, but that seems to be another
Yeah, I
topic.
think you're taking it too
Anywho,
deep.
You're
I
taking
know
it.
because you're like,
You're taking it too
I
deep.
know you're like,
It's not that serious.
Pastor then said what? When?
Well, I think the church as a body does not have a stand, but if your church
Mhm.
wants to be a church that would reach out to its members in terms of wanting it, and I say in the church meaning like people in the church, because
Right.
I don't think the church as itself as a body has a stance on that. But if members of the church wants to be protective in nature and have some, just encouragement, that's as far as I think that would go. But to say that the church will have
Encouragement.
any kind of say particular I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, any kind of rules where it comes to this. I don't think that, like Candy says, I don't think that they have any say where that is concerned.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, and we'll leave that topic there for now because I know there's more to that than what we're saying. But the one I want to go to is one that Alicia mentioned about multiple partners and meeting multiple people, interacting with multiple people at the same time. So tell me about that. Tell me about your experience with that. How, what do you do? How have you dealt with it? And similarly, Candy. So I'm coming back to Candy with the same question.
Okay, I mentioned to you that there should be some kind of rule book or just guidelines. I should say guidelines on dating, online dating, especially for somebody who's older like myself. Where I'm accustomed to meeting somebody generic. We have an attraction for each other and we just hone in on that one person. But online, you are pretty much talking to more than one person at a time. And that in itself was hard for me to navigate around dating older. So I spoke to somebody, one of my friends who actually met their husband online, and received some kind of guidelines where that is concerned. And she was like, Alicia, you need, we as women go in for looking for a fish with a fishing rod. But when men go in, they go in with a whole net. And then they start throwing fishes back out, or fish that they don't particularly like. And she said, you need to not go in with a rod.
Right.
You need to go in with a net.
Wow.
And so that was kind of hard for me because I was like, I couldn't even imagine doing such a thing,
Yeah.
And so I had a hard time navigating around that. And also I felt like doing that was very stressful on me because I felt like I would make progress and then have to throw that fish back and then stand back again. And so it was daunting. It was daunting for me. And so I had to sit back and get a little advice on how to best navigate around this dating, online dating situation.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I like that that analogy of using a net versus a fishing rod. I like that. Maybe because I'm a little bit younger, and I grew up with, at least in my young adolescent age, of navigating chat rooms, navigating social media, where it is possible to have multiple conversations in different rooms, right? And so when you match with someone, depending on the platform that you're on, you can have multiple chats going on where you're meeting with this person and getting to know them or asking questions or having, short conversations. If you're having your engagement with that person solely on that format or in that platform, it can be kind of tiresome to, all right, I have 5 people that I'm juggling. Okay, good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. My favorite color is purple. I like to play, chess. Oh, my favorite food is spaghetti.
Wow.
And so it's just something that you might have to do until maybe one might actually take it a little bit further, where they may say, You know what? Actually, I would like to get to know you out of this chat. Here's my
Mm,
number, or may I ask you for your number, right?
wow.
And
Wow.
therefore, you might say, well, I'm gonna go back to your page. Let me take a look what you look like. Let me look at and let's
Mm,
look at our conversation. Sure, I will give you my number and I will speak
okay.
to you, right?
Okay.
And
So
so
my friend told me she makes notes. So she was
Yeah.
like, Alicia, you have to make notes so you will know
Right.
who you're talking to. And that's why I said you
Ooh.
should have a little tutorial because I had no idea about just make notes. And so she was like, I had to make notes so I could say, okay, I said I'm talking to 5 guys, and out of this 5, these are the 3 that I'm really interested
Wow.
in. This is what
Wow.
this person was like. And I was like, ooh, this is a
it's a
lot.
lot.
It's a
Yeah.
lot,
It
Yeah.
is. It's definitely a lot because sometimes I have to go back through the chat and look at what
Wow.
we're talking. So that's what I use as my notes. Go back. What did we talk
Wow.
about? What did you say? You know? And
Mhm.
then sometimes when you have a conversation with a person or you have some type of interaction with them that's different than anyone else, then
Mm.
you can remember a little bit better
Right.
about, oh yeah, this is this, that person stands out more to you than the others. And the others may just fall off by the wayside,
Wow.
and
Wow.
you might end up putting your attention to that one who stood out. But nowadays, what I have found on certain platforms, some men, they do not allow the conversation to go too long
Yeah.
on the dating app.
Yes.
They are
I was
quick.
asking Candy about that. Is that a
Yeah.
generational thing? Like, would the younger men talk longer in the text, or is it just that
I
the
think it's based
older
on
men want to
experience.
call?
No, it's their experience too, right? So
Mm, mm,
I've had them say that they've been with talking to girls for an extended period of time while
mm-hmm.
going nowhere. And then
Okay.
after talking to them, they realize that this is not somebody that they want to talk to and
Yeah.
have even given all this time to, right? And
Wow.
so they want to get in where and I have to say I'm older, so the
Right.
guys that I date that they're older, and so they
Right.
are frustrated just like I am with this whole.
Yeah.
It's a whole nuance for them too as well, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so they don't want to talk. They're more into talking on the phone. I feel like younger guys
Mm,
are okay with the texting and chatting for
yeah.
a while, but the older men are more into let's talk on the phone and see what we
Mm,
feel, if we're feeling the same thing, we vibe in the same thing. So
right.
off the bat, they are the ones who would be like, I need to have your number and we need to talk, because they get a sense and a feeling about who you are, if they're talking, as opposed to if you're just texting. Younger people like to text even now
Yeah.
for me.
Candy
uh,
likes to text. Listen, when I call Candy, I'm like praying, okay, is she gonna answer? She's not gonna answer. So I call first. I always call
yes. Yeah, so I am old school because I would pick up a phone and call as opposed to
exactly. Like, why would you like, yeah.
and then they text so fast. By the time I'm answering the first question, they've already gone on to
Thank
answer
you.
3, 4,
Thank you.
5 questions, right? Can you?
Yeah. But when it comes to dating, what I have noticed, I'm not that young. Like guys who are in their 40s, I
She's
say
young
more
enough.
so those who are experienced with online. Because I've even had guys who are in their 30s who
Mm,
don't chat too long. They want the
mm,
conversation to happen outside of the dating platform, whether it be on Christian Mingle, Match,
right,
Black People Meet, or even
right.
Facebook dating, more so as a way of, I want to make sure I'm not wasting my
And we
time
can be
with
Right.
someone who doesn't even exist.
Yes.
Right. So that brings us to the catfishing. And I know we have to wrap up soon, but let's get a little bit into the catfishing. So what is catfishing, and how and why are people trying to avoid it?
Well, let me just finish what my thought was.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but no, which will lead to your question, right?
Right.
Because people, there's a whole show about being catfish,
Mm,
right?
mm,
Thinking that you're talking or meeting someone online and that this is what they look like, this is who they
mm,
are, and when really they're not. And so,
mhm,
because of the fear of being what they now call term catfish, people are
mhm,
like, you know what? Hi, how are you? You know what?
mm,
You sound good, or maybe you answered a few questions. So maybe the next day hey, here's my number, or may I have your
Mhm.
number so I can actually speak to you? And
Yeah.
some guys will actually put on their profile, if you're not willing to do a video chat,
Right.
then don't
Wow.
even bother. So
Yes.
it's not a matter of younger or older. I think it's based on experience and
Wow.
what they're looking for, if they're serious about seeking someone, to make sure, one, you're real. So
Mhm.
texting or sending them messages, you could be a bot, you could be
Wow.
anything else, but to
Mhm.
verify, I want to hear your voice. And
Mhm.
now it's not just your voice, I want to see your
To see you,
face.
because there's
Wow.
a lot of filters. They'll tell you if you have a lot of filters on,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
not interested. If you have on too
Wow.
much makeup, I mean, like, there's a whole host of
Wow.
Mhm.
expectations and stipulations that's on here. Which, of
Mhm.
course, for me, if you meet somebody generic, they know you, they see you, and
Right.
so you don't have to have all of this. But we know that there's a lot of fake, unreal things out there, and
Yeah.
there's a fear that's there. That's legitimate.
Yeah,
That's
very.
legitimate fear.
Right.
And that's why you should be open to, if you're gonna date online, you should be open to sharing your phone number, being okay giving
Mm.
someone a video chat. Got to be willing,
Mm.
even though the
Mhm.
same way, because I think that's the importance of not allowing the relationship to develop and stay online.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm.
we got a video
Right.
chat. It has to
Mm-hmm.
leave the platform.
Right.
The same way, if I meet somebody at Home Depot, we're not going to just do Home Depot dates.
Mhm.
Exactly.
We're not only going to communicate when we're at Home Depot, we're going to
Right.
communicate outside of Home
Right.
Depot.
Yeah.
So same thing with the online. It is a place where we met, but then we continue to develop it somewhere else.
And
All
I
right.
think
So go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, Alicia.
I wanted to say too that online dating has make it harder for you to push through the like, for instance, you might meet somebody and initially you may not have, but you find over time you might end up liking somebody, but because there's so much options out there, like, you
Ooh.
don't have the patience to
Mm.
to have a push through, or
Mm.
to to push a little harder to
Mhm.
see if maybe this is what I really want.
Right.
That stick to itiveness.
Yeah.
As soon as you have so much options there, so as soon
Right.
as you run up with any kind of problem, any kind of issue, her
Like,
eyebrows
I'm
in
out.
right,
Peace
her
out.
lips in right, I'm out, I'm out.
Peace
You
out.
know, so
Deuces.
so there's no push through, there's no stick
Yeah.
to itiveness with this, and so you're really not finding that
Mhm.
um something wholesome,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
so that's one of my big misgivings with this, and I
Yeah.
have to say that I found myself doing the same thing, like,
Mhm.
his eyebrows wasn't right, his head is shaped funny.
Ooh.
It's
Yeah.
it's the little things when you have five gorgeous men on this side, there's ways you can
Uh,
talk to, right? So I feel that there's a sense there where you're not able to push through, to dig deeper,
right.
and to move things along.
Yeah.
It's you could very easily be dismissive of people. So that's one
Yeah.
of the things that I found that I had to be mindful of, and the fact
Yeah.
that people would do that to me.
Right. And I feel like at this point we need to end this conversation simply because there's so much going on. I want to find out about being willing to share your phone number. Well, but the young people now is your Insta information. Being able to push through in relationships because you have so many hotties on the platform that are interested in you that you don't really want to stick with any one person. And then we want to get to some of the experiences that both Candy and Alicia had, both positive and negative. So tell us about those dates. You don't have to call any names, but tell us about those dates. How did that go? What was good for the positive ones and what went wrong with the negative ones? So that being said, this is part 1. We are going to do part 2.
Yes, definitely. And we are Triple B what?